looks at the TV, right? He
Right.
just like looks over at the TV, and then the panel is so big, you just see that TV, right? And then he beats the TV. He looks away and goes back to stapling his comic books and getting them to the printer or whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
so,
That was, yeah, those were
right.
when I started by doing mini comics, and that was, it really was photocopying onto 8.5 by 11, folding it twice and
Hmm.
stapling it.
Hmm.
And then I I started selling at a local shop. I was selling at the comic store, and then there was a bookstore, Europa Books, that put them on the counter. And then I had a buddy that I became friends with, a guy at the photocopy place. So he was doing color copies for me. So I'd do a color
Right.
cover, and I couldn't keep up because they started selling better
Right.
and better at the bookstore, especially.
Right.
And then I
Hmm.
worked for a printer, and he said, "Oh, I could print those up for you." And
Hmm.
so I printed up 10,000 of them. And he said they'd be cheaper if you staple them yourself. So I stapled the first uh, 10,000 copies myself.
Wow.
And I swore I would never do it again. I was like, and then I sold out fairly quickly. I
Right.
started going through distributors. And so I did a second run of 12,000, and I stapled all those
Right.
myself too.
Wow. Wow.
And
Wow.
that's what I wanted to communicate a little bit in that book
Wow.
was, it takes not being afraid of doing the work. Like, you have to
Right.
staple 10,000 mini comics yourself if you want to do it. It's just,
Wow.
I don't think there's a way around it. And
Right.
maybe there is for some people, but not for
I
me.
mean, it's really amazing what our mind does to avoid stapling 12,000 mini comics, right?
It's fine. I mean, uh, I was working at a video store, and I just get iClaudius, and I sit there and watch iClaudius while I staple. Three
Is
days
that
of
a good
stapling. That's
movie
all
or is
it
it
was.
boring or it's like
It's kind of boring. It's like a BBC, history of the Romans kind
wow,
of thing,
that's pretty neat.
from the 70s with
I'll
very
put
low
it
production
on.
values.
I'll give it a whirl. Whatever you say,
But
man.
it's great and terrible at the same time, because it's, top-notch actors, top-notch writing, weird echo and bad lighting and it's cheap everything, like British
Right, right.
of the time. Um,
So, I don't want to get you into Twitter war or anything, but you were talking about like a, kind of crude. I think you might have mentioned crude or comedy in the same sentence. Um,
uh-huh.
I am genuinely wondering in this moment what you think of Seth MacFarlane. I mean, he's got all these
Oh,
cartoons, you know?
yeah. I mean, I aspects of it I like, and it's sort of
Right.
funny, but to me, it's a lot of reference humor, and so
Okay.
it's not actually making jokes. Um, it's like, oh, here's, a Star Trek, and it's a Star Trek reference. And it's not like a joke with a Star Trek. It's like, this is funny because it's William Shatner overacting. It's like, okay, yeah, we all know that he overacted, and it's not.
Right.
So to me, it's a little bit on the lazy side, but I appreciate his popularity, and that he obviously has put in the work, and I kind of
Right.
like the Orville. But it feels like it's a fan show. That's like, oh, he watched Star Trek, and he wanted to be in a Star Trek
Right.
show, and he made one just so
Yeah.
he could be the captain,
Yeah.
which is kind of funnier in a way than the show itself. Um, but
Yeah.
it's
I
better than
think
it should
I
be.
I do actually
And
I think that's because I took a look at the Orville too, and I was like, there's so much there that is so cool in concept, you know. Um,
yeah,
I watched the super cut of all the Norm Macdonald appearances as this blob or something like that. Yeah.
that's
Anyway, I was
funny.
I, I was curious. And I don't want you to get into Twitter war. Honestly, I
Oh,
might genuinely leave that out of the
oh,
fight.
it doesn't matter. I don't care. It
I
wouldn't
don't.
get me in it.
It doesn't
Everybody has an
matter.
opinion.
I think you're right. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It is
But
a
yeah,
it's a really good reminder sometimes. Like it doesn't matter. Like
yeah.
but yeah, and I appreciate that.
And I'm
Um,
not trying to bag on him either. I don't
Not at all. No, I mean I am
obviously
not trying
he's
to bag on Seth MacFarlane.
and
I would love
and
to
man, the talent that he has
make
to
some
do the
data.
singing
Oh,
and
wow.
the music that he
The
does, and then
singing
the
is out
acting
of
and
control.
the writing,
That's
it's like, yeah,
you know
it is genuinely impressive what he can pull off.
the
And
singing
then
and the showmanship is genuinely impressive. Definitely.
yeah,
Yeah, I
and
completely that.
yeah,
Absolutely.
so
Um,
hats off to him for doing it.
yeah, yeah, and hats off to you for, giving me the real spiel, man. That's very cool. We should be able to do that actually. So, just for the sake of cool YouTube clips, how about you throw out a few songs in a row that should be on this Fantastic Four soundtrack, right?
Fantastic Four, the obvious one is I'm a Rock. Um,
By Simon and
Simon
Garfunkel.
and Garfunkel, right? Unless there's a version done by Johnny Cash, which would be
That's
that
fair.
much better, but
That's fair.
there's probably not. So
Definitely,
he did.
I would happily accept a song from the American Recordings Johnny Cash in a Fantastic Four film.
If I could think of
Let's do that
one,
one. Yeah,
um, I'm on Fire would be perfect for in there as well.
I'm on fire.
And oh, who does that? Chromatics do a really good version of it.
I mean, I know
Um,
you have a record
I mean,
collection, so don't screw around too much. You can definitely give me some songs. I mean, hang on,
I think
I gotta grab my charger for my laptop, okay? Stay
okay,
on the line.
I'm here.
Gosh. Oh, I have to admit, if the battery goes out, that would be rough. I wouldn't be I wouldn't be a happy camper. But
A friend of mine said to if you're going to hang up on somebody, always do it while you're talking, because uh, then they think nobody would hang up on themselves, and so that way you
oh my
can hang
gosh.
up on somebody without without seeming like you're hanging up on them.
I got to
Which
get
I
my phone replaced. I mean, it's the charge is just going out, and I'm telling people who are
let's see.
really
Yeah, I'm on
important to
fire.
me,
Who's
like
that?
you
That's
have like 20 minutes. Like, the time is running out, just so you
I
know.
love it. I love it. Exactly. Hang up on yourself. That's the way to do it. George Clinton and the Rubber Band, obviously, for and his music actually would fit Mr. Fantastic in some weird way too.
That's fantastic.
Air Supply, but there's terrible. But although Sue Storm does have that corniness to her, so maybe Air Supply would fit with a
Yeah.
Invisible Girl.
I always thought for
Um,
Mr. Fantastic, I mean, it's a feature film. How cool would it be
mhm.
if he loses control of his powers and he's just kind of dripping down like a cliff face or something, Mr.
Oh, a
Fantastic.
friend of mine did a parody of the Fantastic Four where they come back and um, Johnny Storm just burns up and dies. The
Wow.
Thing becomes a rock creature, but he can't move, so he's just frozen. Mr. Fantastic does that where he just melts, and they kind of manage to
Mhm.
scoop him into this kind of petri dish. And I
Wow.
think Invisible Girl just becomes air and dissipate. But it was just this tragedy where they're all screaming in pain. There's like 1 or 2 pages of each of their deaths. It was
Hmm.
horrifying, and he just really leaned into it. Who was that? It was Todd
Wow.
Ramsel. I think it was Todd
Wow.
Ramsel who did that. But I loved it. I always wanted to reprint that and just never got around to it. But that's high on my list. So yeah,
Absolutely.
you're on the zeitgeist there of
Yeah, no, I'm proud to be part of that zeitgeist. Deep down I knew someone else must have thought of that, right? Fantastic Four dripping down a cliff face. I mean,
yeah. And a little
eh,
bit in Doom Patrol, she kind of loses control. I can't remember her name, but he's sort of he has the fantastic Mr. Fantastic, the lady that can kind of blob turn into a blob. I can't,
That's
but
right.
they
It
do
was like
that.
Fantastic Four, Doom Patrol, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
they was it Grant Morrison pulled a lot of kind of Fantastic Four parody stuff into it. It was
yeah.
great, but he brought the horrific aspect. He really nailed that. Like this is sort of a horror show
Wow.
feeling.
It
I
is.
love those Doom.
Yes.
Grant Morrison is so good.
I was really Grant Morrison, obviously. Yes. Grant Morrison. Holy cow. I mean, yeah. Um, so shout out. I know Grant Morrison did a run on Animal Man, which is
I
DC.
love those.
You
Yeah,
know,
those were
DC
great.
doesn't get enough credit, so I gotta sneak that in there. Uh,
Yeah,
and you know, by the way, I know that you've been an indie comic book creator. You obviously have some feelings that are more realistic about Marvel and DC. You know, um,
but I mean I look at those early Fantastic Fours and I just
is that
love
okay
them.
for
And
me to say? Was that? I mean, I'll just cut it out if
yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
you.
but I think some of that divisiveness came out of what was that? The Comics Journal, and they sort of did these articles fostering, this division and hatred between indie and mainstream. And it's like I've hung out with
Oh,
those guys, and I love them, like the people that draw these comics, and
right.
I have a real love of mainstream comics,
You must. You
and
must talk to them all the time. I didn't.
yeah, and then we all always have to get over this little Fantagraphics hump of, hey, I love what you're doing. Oh God, I love what you're doing too. So
Right.
instead of being like, oh,
Right.
you're indie, it's not
Right.
real comics. Oh, you're mainstream. Oh, you're a sellout. Like, no, we don't feel that way at all. Like we have just this. Generally, there's a lot of respect for each other.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
absolutely. I mean, I would definitely, that's really kind of what I'm saying. Like, um, you're a great choice to draw and write Fantastic Four. Like you'd be awesome.
well, I'm
I
in. If
would,
they call me up, I'm there
yeah,
in a heartbeat.
I recommend it. I say Marvel, you could do no wrong.
I want
I
to
would
do an
just
anti-multiverse story, like
anti-multiverse. Yeah. Yeah, of course,
a universe. Yeah, the
I def I definitely
monoverse.
I definitely think if you got to do a run, I mean just the end zone and then or the end dimension or however they phrased it. They go to the end zone and then they come back and then the rest of the time they're in just one dimension. They don't have to cross a bunch of dimensions.
One of my favorite stories is where the
And
Thing
the
and
only crossover
Sandman.
I would accept, by the way, is Spider-Man. So yeah,
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah.
Well, they started crossing over in, was it Spider-Man 2 or 3 or something, 5? But he went to join the Fantastic Four and they didn't get along. But then they had the What If, where what if Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four?
Right, right.
Um,
I mean,
but that was, yeah, it was great.
Spider-Man has a friendship with Johnny Storm. I'm not totally
Yeah,
against crossovers, but
the
you know,
Marvel team up where they would team up. Um,
well, Marvel team up. I mean, now I understand so much more the greatness of that idea, the Marvel team up, and
yeah,
just why not these two?
Marvel 2-in-1 with the Thing, and that was the one that I. It's still one of my favorite books. Is where the Thing runs into Sandman at a bar, and then they almost fight, and then just have a beer together, and they have this
Yeah.
whole conversation.
Oh
Um,
wow. Wow.
and it was just a conversation. I don't know. It was just hilarious. I was like, oh, the Thing and Sandman are going to fight, and like, oh wait, they're
And then
having a
they're
beer
just
together.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it had a sincerity to it that I just loved.
Definitely. I mean, I've read a couple comic books like that where just I mean, I the this is kind of crazy, but the same night that I talked to you for the first time was also I got to talk to Paul Jenkins, the writer on
Oh yeah,
Spectacular Spider-Man.
yeah,
Um,
Paul Jenkins. Yeah,
yeah, created the Sentry, and I'm pretty sure he created this villain just for an issue of Spider-Man called Typeface, and Typeface just showed
that is
up.
so terrible.
Typeface just showed up in the new Spider-Verse movie.
Oh really?
He
Oh
has
man,
like a
that's
one
funny.
second cameo. I haven't checked it yet. it might literally be Paul Jenkins doing the voice for all I know. Like I have
Oh,
no
that's
idea
great.
what's going on with that,
That
but
that's as
I
bad
couldn't
as like
believe it.
Eisner, but he had the sans serif, which is one of the femme fatales that he did. I was like, oh, this is just terrible. What a sans serif.
I know all comic book writers don't think the same, but I had to throw that in there. But so
I love it. I
you
love it.
haven't seen this new Spider-Man.
No, no,
You have
I'm still waiting to get it for free when a friend of mine steals it and puts it up on their Plex, and I can.
there you
Um,
go, there you go.
no, I meant to go to the theater. I don't know. I never get out.
I'm not gonna sweat you to go to the theater, but have you seen the first one? Because that one's been out for a few
Yeah,
years.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was great. It was funny as hell.
It's really
Yeah, I
funny,
liked
right?
it.
I forgot.
Yeah,
I mean, Spider Ham. That
yeah,
was
yeah.
that was
I always hated Spider-Ham, and then he popped up in that movie, and I was like, oh wow,
oh, it
they
was
are
so
actually
funny.
making this work, and it was good. That was a magic trick that they pulled that
That
off.
was definitely a magic trick. I mean, that line where literally Spider Ham is like, "Can you float through the air while smelling a delicious pie?" I mean, like, I was like, I
Yeah.
cannot believe that that was in a movie that is technically a story and like, you
Hmm.
know, and then they
It
go
was
and they
good
save the
stuff.
day. They literally save
Yeah,
the day, and you kind of like almost forget that you know, I mean, these.
that it's the dumbest dumb pun. Yeah, no, I liked it. That was good.
There was a lot of
Yeah,
that
but
stuff,
going back to the early Spider-Man with Ditko, I mean, I love those early Spider-Man stuff, and Ditko has that weird, he just this odd energy of
right?
anxiety that I mean he really
Right.
came into his own when he did this the Doctor Strange run, but the early Spider-Mans were just I thought great, and he
Yeah.
has this amateur quality to his drawings that I love with this awkwardness, um, and
Wow.
yeah, a
Wow.
consummate amateur is what I think of him as,
Yeah,
which
that's so
I
yeah.
love, you know.
I'm glad that you revisited that because I've heard you talk about Steve Ditko before, and I think, kind of with your artist's eye and with your experience, reflecting on these kind of figures from the past, like Steve Ditko. I mean, we should be so lucky that people outside of the comic book world. I mean, people should know Steve Ditko. They should know
I
you. They should know, they should
I
know.
snuck into see Ditko. I was in New York in Midtown, and I had like 5 hours before my plane, and so I called up a friend who worked at Marvel, and I was like, "Hey, where does Steve Ditko work? What's this?" So I went to a studio, and there's a doorman, and I waited till the doorman was getting a package, and I snuck in, and I took the elevator up, and then I knocked on the door, but he wasn't there, which is kind of a perfect Steve Ditko moment. But
Yeah.
it was this kind of gray hallway with black and white. It felt
Wow.
like Steve Ditko, being
Wow.
in there.
Wow. Like
I
you're,
wish
yeah.
it was a better story, but
No, like you,
at least I tried.
it is a good story. Like you're walking into his world in a way, right? I mean, that's how I interpreted it. But,
Yeah, yeah.
I do like that
Had
story. Yeah,
Ditko, a
definitely.
number and Ditko on the, but
I mean, I have to be honest, like
and
I
he's,
I must have
yeah,
had a similar experience talking to you. I mean, meeting you for the first time, I had no idea, I mean, you know, I
ah,
learned a lot. I learned a lot. All right.
that's
Yeah.
silly. I'd
Like
never
I
yell
mean,
at you. Although Steve Ditko, I think, might yell at. I was
well, he
expecting. I
was
was like, okay,
before you.
things
I
not
mean,
to talk about. Don't talk about Spider-Man. Don't
oh,
don't
oh,
talk
oh,
about. Yeah, I thought we'll Ayn Rand. I'll just bring her up and listen to objective realism or
wow.
whatever the.
I asked if you wanted to talk about Spider-Man, and you gave a story about Steve Ditko. I mean, should I complain? I mean, am I
No,
unhappy?
no,
No,
no.
I'm definitely not. Um, this has been great. I guess we'll have to close it up soon. I think we've been talking for a long time,
I love
right?
it. No, I
Yeah.
got to
All
get
right.
dinner, but that's about it. And get on my Kickstarter to figure out how to um, set a schedule for that. So
Absolutely,
See
absolutely.
what I'm going to
So,
put in on the book is
I
mostly laid out. So
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm so pleased. Thanks for coming on, man. We talked Spider-Man a little bit. Thank you for that. That is very cool. And yeah, if you how often do you come out to New York, especially post-pandemic, no less?
yeah, pre-pandemic, I was going out to pitch at the New Yorker, and I'd go, 3 times a year, I would say,
Hmm.
at least,
Hmm.
maybe four. I was getting out as often as I could, and I
Hmm.
then yeah, and then they changed editors, so Emma, the new editor, she doesn't really do the in-person pitches the way that Bob Mankoff, the old editor, did. So I'm not, and then the comic book companies too have moved from New York. So I don't know. I don't have quite the pull, but it's still one of my favorite
Right,
cities in the world. I just love New York so much.
right. Well,
And Blue Note, I got to get to Blue Note and check out the scene
I should
and see your
mention
band.
I should mention, yeah, I got to start a band. That's the next piece of the puzzle for my rock star lifestyle. No, I'm just kidding, but so very cool. So I should mention, Shannon Wheeler, Too Much Coffee Man. The merch is real and it is out there. Hopefully, we'll get another run of hyperspace somehow. And and
I'm in. Yeah.
as for our part, Lemon Drop Sessions, we're gonna start having merch soon. And you know what? If people throw in a few bucks and maybe buy a Lemon Drop Sessions T-shirt or something like that, I can provide amenities for our guests like Shannon Wheeler. It's true. We really can kick some of that money back, and help out artists that I I would be very pleased to work with, and Marvel should be too. So
Got to do a Too Much Coffee Man song. That's got to be in your
I'll do it.
in the
I'll do
run
it.
there.
I'll, do,
I'd love it.
I'll at least try it. I'll write some lyrics. I mean, there's no doubt about that. So Shannon, you said it, so I'm gonna do it. I mean, prepare to be very, very surprised in 6 to 8 months
I
from now.
love it. I love it. No,
I
it's
love it too.
perfect
I'm gonna,
timing.
in my mind, I'm like, I'm totally gonna make this. I appreciate it, man. This is so fun. Um,
Sweet.
I got to pick your brain about Fantastic Four and Spider-Man both. I think I think I'm happy. So I'm just trying to dig for one more idea that I might have missed. I think we did pretty good. This podcast is about food and music. You said you got to figure out dinner later. So I'm gonna I don't want you to feel pressured, but I'm just sort of developing this game for the lemon drop sessions. It's
Hmm.
called Best Plates Under $27. So
Okay.
I was wondering, you can pick takeout, by the way, because I remember you told me a haunting story about being at a restaurant and just not enjoying yourself that I've never forgotten. But you know, it's like I, in spite of that, I still go to restaurants. But you really said something that I will not repeat. But all right. So for this game, best plates under $27. I'd be very happy if you could pick out a restaurant from Colorado and
Oh, wow.
pick out your
Okay.
dish. Try to land
Yeah.
$27, and tip is after, so you don't have to.
Okay.
So you should tip. You should absolutely tip. You should tip well, but
Right.
it's not part of the
Right.
27.
Right. But it's not counted in that. I mean, I'm still a food cart guy. I give me a good, burrito from food carts, especially if there's like grilled veggies or like a grilled mushroom burrito with a good
Grilled
hit of homemade
mushroom burrito.
salsa.
Mhm.
God, I love a good. Yeah, there used to be a place nearby that did a cactus burrito that had a nice. The cactus has a kind of. It's hard to cook with because it has such a weird flavor, but it like
It's
a
literally
sweet tart.
cactus. Oh my
Uh,
gosh, I have a cactus on
yeah, that
screen. I
was
gotta I
good.
gotta hide. I gotta cover the cactus ears. The
I'll eat it.
cactus burrito.
Um,
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
cactus. If there's a place that had a cactus
Don't you eat
burrito,
my cactus, Shannon Wheeler?
I used to love a good calamari burrito, but I stopped eating calamari because I just started liking. They're smart. Those once I learned the intelligence of of uh of octopus and squids, and I can't eat them anymore. But
So
yeah, I would say good
are
if there's a
you
good
saying cactus are smart or octopus are smart?
octopus. Cactus, as far as I'll still eat a cactus.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
I can't believe here, 1 second. Okay. I mean, I just made eye contact with my
oh,
Anthony Bourdain,
funny.
the Anthony Bourdain comic book that
Yeah, that's
get
great.
hero. Yeah. Have you ever did you ever look over when that was happening? Did you know
I read
that?
about it and then I never saw it actually come to fruition, but I've always been curious how it turned out. That's cool
Wow,
that you got
man.
a copy.
So
I'd forgotten about it. I'd love to, I need to chase it down. We once in the magazine, we did a choose your own recipe adventure where you start with an ingredient and then if you add rice, then you turn to page 63. If you add
oh
beef, turn to page 27.
oh
And
my
then
gosh.
and then different ways of cooking it, then you turn to different pages. And so you can wind up with different meals
Oh
depending on how
wow.
you cook it and what
A choose
ingredients you
your own
add.
recipe in comic
And
book.
then yeah, some of the end results you end up dying because you didn't cook the pork well enough. Um, but it
Yes.
was I wanted to do a whole book that was a choose your own recipe adventure, and because we did a food issue of the magazine once, and that was one of the bits
You
in
know,
there, and it was
like
along the bottom.
literally, if enough people buy some wacky Lemon Drop Sessions T-shirt, we could pay Shannon Wheeler to make a
I would
like
love to do that. I would
it's
love to
not a
pull
joke.
in,
Like literally, like just like
yeah,
buy this T-shirt, taxes. Shannon Wheeler makes a
fund
cookbook.
this
Come
stupid
on,
idea.
come
I'm
on.
in.
I mean,
I'm all
yeah,
about stupid ideas.
I'm all
That was
about it
fun. That's what
too.
I liked about the magazine was just being able to take an idea and then do it in in a small form.
Yes, I
Yeah,
mean it is truly the joy of comic books, and it's cheaper and more interesting as a comic book. I mean, truly.
yeah.
Uh, so I do want to mention Marvel Team Up. Uh, you know, talking to guys like Shannon Wheeler, I got to talk to Andrea Muti, got to talk to
Oh
Eric
wow,
Powell, got to talk
nice.
to Paul Jenkins. I can't believe I've literally held a Shannon Wheeler book and a Paul Jenkins book in the same hand, like like brought it to school or whatever. So like, but yeah, I got to talk to some great comic book creators, hoping to talk to more, and I was also trying to do some comic book reviews. I did actually review Marvel
Oh
Team
wow.
Spider
What
Man
number is that? That's a
and
later one.
Paladin.
Okay.
I think it's
Yeah.
a discover, and actually, the
I think
first
yeah.
yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to. About the
Oh
start
no,
of
no. I was just thinking team up I bought through 50, and that's about where I stopped buying the Marvel team ups.
right, right.
But I have one through 50 sitting over in my as I'm starting to go through old comics to see what I'm going to
There
sell.
was a Spider-Man and Ghost Rider Marvel team up. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Yeah, that was I think around 27 or something, 32. It was maybe even earlier. No, uh a team up with Ghost Rider.
Wow, wow. All right. This is what
All
happens.
right.
I mean,
I love it.
the first time I talked to Shannon Wheeler, it was over 2 hours long. So,
I do
so,
like to talk. It's a terrible
yeah.
thing.
Oh
I
man, it's
picked the wrong
great.
profession.
Yeah, man. I mean, hey, public speaking is about to skyrocket by $4 billion or whatever. I'm sure you could get 10,000 out of that.
I'm in. Sign me up.
I'm sure you could get a piece of the puzzle. Oh, you know what? This is terrific. You teach comic books at Colorado University,
No, no, no. Portland State,
Portland State
PSU.
University. All right, so you teach comic books at Portland State
Yep.
University. I mean, we're really kind of burning the midnight oil. So I'll just please anything you have about it. What's it like teaching people? I mean, introducing them to this thing. That's actually how we started talking, actually.
Um, yeah, I mean, there's a couple different aspects. One is just teaching the mechanics, like this is how to do this. You want to communicate these ideas, and this is how to, and then another aspect of it is just saying, teaching people to not be afraid and to just do something and not try to do something, not do your life's work, but just do this thing and do these stupid ideas and get it on paper in a fearless way. So mechanics, um, an emotional base, um, and then and then just this idea of like how to photocopy, staple, and put this thing, the mechanical, physical, mechanical
Hmm.
aspect of it as well. And I'm a big fan of hard copies where I want there to be
Sure.
an output. So you do this thing that is finished, um, and so more and more things are going digital. So it's
Right. Right.
but I,
And
getting
you
over
know,
the fear is that's kind of the interesting part of it.
it is interesting. And you know, I was kind of in danger of interrupting you there because I do see the potential of digital comics. However, I
Mhm.
completely agree that we would really be losing something special to turn away from paperback or hardcover copies of people's work. I mean,
And yeah,
how
it's a
terrible.
slightly different art form,
It
and
would be like not
it's a
having vinyl.
yeah,
It would really be
yeah,
like vinyl.
yeah. And there are things with vinyl that that I remember Flipper putting out a 45 that had the inner groove looped, and so it was on Sex Bomb. So you put it on a jukebox, and the song would never end until somebody came over and kicked it.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I like that kind of gag. I mean, I think
Yeah,
who was it? They Might Be Giants did one where they had
they might be giants.
for a CD. I think for Apollo 18, they had what like 10 songs that were songs, and then or maybe it was 20 songs and then 20 songs that were 3 4 seconds long, and you're supposed to hit shuffle every time, so it created this. So I mean,
Wow,
there's just pluses and minuses, and same thing with comics where there are things you can do with digital comics that you can't do with print, but I still think that there's a lot of things to explore in print that are weird and interesting and funny, like shooting
absolutely.
it, or I don't know what other dumb ideas we've had, but um, we've
Well,
had
they
dumb
might be
ideas. I don't know.
giants. I mean, they might be giants could be on the Fantastic Four soundtrack. I think. I think they.
Yes. Oh man. Well, yeah, Particle Man is just the Spider-Man song. Um,
It is. Oh, I'll listen to that. Um,
Particle Man does the thing. Spider-Man, Spider-Man does the things
oh
that
yeah,
Spider,
very cool.
right?
I mean, they have so much music. They might be giants. Like when I hear they might be giants, I'm just like, I probably, you know, there's no way I'm gonna know the album or it's like, but like,
Yeah,
they have so much music. They write for music for commercials on the side, etc., so on and so forth. Every so often a They Might Be Giants song shows up in a movie. It's mind blowing. You know,
they're
uh,
just great. I
they
love
did
them.
the
I think
theme
they're
for
yeah,
Malcolm in the Middle.
not quite Devo, but in the same
Yeah,
you know list as Devo. I mean, they're up there.
and you've met these guys, right? You've met.
No, no, I never have.
Wow. What about
I did
Brian
go to it.
Eno? Didn't you meet?
No, I
No.
would
Okay.
love to meet Brian Eno. No,
I was
Rollins.
genuinely wondering what that. I was like, has he met Brian Eno? Like,
Yeah, no, he's a hero. I'd be kind of um, yeah, I'd
you guys are
be
real.
awestruck. Jello
There's no doubt
Biafra,
about it.
I've hung out with him. I liked him
Hung out with
because he's an old Bay Area guy, and so I was able to
who's
finally
the old
meet him when
Bay
they came to
Area guy?
Portland. Jello Biafra from the Dead Kennedys, old punk rock
Wow. Oh,
icon,
that's
really. But
fantastic.
I've
Yes,
met a
that's
couple
right. That's right. Oh, that's a
of these
great.
people, but
All right, so Dead Kennedys. They Might Be Giants. I mean, I don't know how they'd fit this into the movie, but Dr. Worm is my
Well,
favorite They Might Be Giants song
yeah,
so far.
which fits with Mr. Fantastic. I mean, really, that
Oh yeah,
because Mr. Fantastic is really just a Plastic Man ripoff, and They Might Be Giants is just a perfect Plastic Man soundtrack, the way they bop and bounce and all that. So,
love it.
um, yeah, I think
That's
it works.
terrific. That's terrific.
All right.
All right, all right. uh,
Now I'm
thank
going to
you,
go put on
Shannon.
a bunch of vinyl upstairs and
Definitely.
play
I
some
just
of this
bought a
music.
record player on Facebook Marketplace for like $10. So
I
uh,
love it.
get the final going, man. I mean,
Yeah,
uh, terrific. So people, Shannon
garage
Wheeler
sales.
is out there and he's still doing it. His books are available on the internet. There shall be links,
Yeah,
as I am known to say. The Kickstarter's coming up. We will profile it. Maybe that's when
I
I can
love
talk
it.
about this Too Much Coffee Man soundtrack I didn't know about. And we'll call it. Thanks so much, Shannon. I'll let you go. I gotta ask you to sign a release form still. And if people
Oh
have
yeah,
listened this long, I'm just gonna straight up tell this very fun story. I have a boilerplate release form, and Shannon Wheeler edited it to his own specifications. I don't think I'm actually going to tell people that. It's hard enough to get people to sign the release forms.
no, it's fine. It's so silly. It's
It's so
hilarious.
no, but it was great, and I believe if I'm not mistaken, there was like a drawing of Too Much Coffee Man in the corner of the waiver form that you sent back with your signature as well. So the long story short, he signed the waiver form. People don't give up on the waiver forms. I have to do it. Every video production has to do it. I know I'm introducing some people in this scenario to the waiver.
Oh,
Don't be
oh my
scared.
God,
Everybody does it. I sign one when I'm on a production that's not my
that's
own. So,
hilarious.
all right. Thanks so much, Shannon. I'll have to let you go. Thanks so much for everything, and you're really spoiling me, man. A Fantastic Four soundtrack, all these great stories. I know we both have feelings about promotion, but I gotta advertise this one. I gotta tell
Yeah.
people it's out there. All right, man. Thank
Oh,
you so
my
much.
pleasure.
I'll let you
I
go.
loved it.
I'll shoot you an email like a week from now. I'll just let you know what's
Okay.
going on.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool. Thanks very much, man. Thank you.
I'll talk to you soon. Anytime. All right. Take care.
Bye.